What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend. And as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. It has been a very exciting week here at Too Pop to Handle headquarters, aka my apartment. My boyfriend and I finally jumped on the Love Island bandwagon. We were waiting for a few weeks for the episodes to kind of build up, so we had some to binge before we really got into it. The day-to-day is a lot to keep up with, as I know you guys all know. If you're watching it, it's a lot to keep up with. And we wanted to give us a little cushion to kind of binge, to really get invested in it. We did this last season too, and it worked out really well for us to just get us more invested with the Islanders, and we are invested. I believe we're on episode 10 right now. So we're 3 or 4 episodes behind. So not too bad. We will definitely catch up by this weekend, honestly. And I'm really excited. We just saw the lace and leather party and those bombshells coming in and kind of all of that unraveling. So we're starting to see, some of the couples kind of crumble. We're seeing Huda and Jeremiah start to kind of crumble apart. And we're seeing, Nick and Sierra and everyone kind of trying to feel out their options. So I'm very excited to see where this season continues to go. We'll talk more about Love Island in the TV recap later at the end of the show. So if you want to stick around for that, I would love to chat about what's going on in the Villa with you guys later on, but we have some other business to take care of before that. Before we get into the show, some fun little announcements and stuff just going on with me. If you did not see, whether on my personal or on the Too Pop to Handle Instagram, I was a part of the Gay Pride Apparel and 6 on Broadway Pride campaign this year, which is so exciting. I was part of the Gay Pride Apparel Pride campaign last year for just their general Pride collection, and this year they did a collaboration with the musical 6 on Broadway, and I got to be part of that collab photo shoot, which is so much fun. We got to shoot with the cast. They had a bunch of other content creators come in and be part of the shoot. So it was really fun. Such a fun shoot, such a fun day. The shoot last year was so much fun when it was just for the website. So I knew this year it would be a blast as well. And it was really cool to go to the Broadway theater and we were getting changed in the dressing rooms. And it was such a cool, behind the scenes situation. I also did the photo shoot the day that my Tony's recap episode came out. So it was a very Broadway centric day and week over here at Too Pop to Handle. So that was so much fun. And Gay Pride Apparel, my friend Jesus and Sergio, they just have such great Pride and queer merchandise that you guys can purchase all year round. Obviously, right now it is Pride Month, so if you're looking for some gear to wear to your Pride parade, you can head over to their website. But also, Pride is all year long, so there's never a bad time to buy a gay t-shirt. You can use code 2POP to handle at checkout and save 20% off. I will have everything linked down below, but that was so much fun, and I'm just so happy to be a part of any of these shoots. And of course, with Pride this year needing to be louder than ever, as I've been telling you guys every single week, I am happy to be a part of any campaign, any way to promote any queer businesses. So much fun. So go check those photos out. It was so much fun. And then I also recorded last night an episode of the Talk Miley to Me podcast, which if you listen to my Something Beautiful episode breakdown, that's Molly and Becky's podcast. So I went on their show. We did a little pod swap and we talked all things Miley Cyrus. It was so much fun. It was good to go down memory lane. It was a lot of fun and cool things with Miley. And it was just so much fun to kind of go back to Hannah Montana days and kind of go through all the years with them and just chat about the shows I've been to, meeting her and what I think's next for Miley. So that is going live this Thursday, June 19th over on their podcast. Again, that is Talk Miley to Me. It was so much fun. I'll share all the social links on my Instagram and everything when it goes live. So make sure you go check that out later this week. Lots of content for you guys, lots going on. But you know what? That is what we like to see over here at Too Pop to Handle. And that is what I've been up to. It has been, a little bit of work, a little bit of fun, a little bit of play. It's been a good mix of things going on over here. So cannot complain. All good things. I hope you guys are all having a fabulous week. Hope you're all celebrating Pride Month. I hope everybody who went out this weekend and protested, A, had a safe time, and B, feels so proud of themselves. I couldn't go out for the No Kings protest. I had something going on. So I posted and, I was sharing resources and things like that. And it was the least I can do. But thank you to everybody who did go out and protest, because it was impressive. It was really, it was moving to see that there was protest literally in every single state pretty much, which is just so unheard of. And I don't need to get into it. You guys know where I stand, but thank you to everybody who did go out and protest and, put some, put a little fire under our government's ass, because clearly they needed to be turned up a notch or so. But that being said, let's get on with the show. We have a lot to chat about today. Kicking it off with our Drew releases, our new music releases from last week and our new music releases coming up this week. If you listened to last week's episode, I was saying there wasn't much on my radar last week coming out and nothing popped up. You know, these artists love these midweek announcements and releasing on Friday. Nothing new popped up since we recorded, so there was nothing that I was listening to last week, but there was a lot of music coming out, the last few weeks. So So it was nice to have a breather and kind of digest some of the music that we've got without like moving on to the next thing. However, we do have a decent amount of new music coming up this week that I'm very excited for. The one that I'm most excited for is definitely Jade Thirlwall. She's releasing, I want to say this is like the 5th or 6th single from her upcoming album, that Showbiz Baby, that comes out in September later this year. She's releasing Plastic Box this Friday. I've been loving every single thing Jade has put out. If she is selling, I am buying, and I can almost put money on the fact that I will love this single just because everything else she's put out has been so great, and to just like such a high caliber. I'm just obsessed with everything she's been doing. So very excited for this. I'm very excited for her album to come out later this year. So we will chat about that next week. And then we have a new single from the Jonas Brothers coming out called No Time to Talk. They're sampling the Bee Gees, I'm pretty sure it was. I'm into the sound. I'm curious to see what it sounds like. I liked their last album a lot. I thought it was really well done and just like a fun sound. I don't go back and listen to it ever, to be completely honest, but I did enjoy it. And like, I mean, if you know me, you know me and the Jonas Brothers have a lot of history. So it's like, I can't not listen to it when it comes out. So we will see how this is and chat about that next week. And then we also have a new single from Miss Lola Young, who I have been loving lately. She's getting a lot of pushback online for some reason. I don't know why. People are just miserable on the internet. But she's releasing a new single called Not Like That Anymore, which I'm very excited about. I think she has a great voice. I think she's so unique. She's kind of in her own lane, and I'm into her. I like it. I'm excited for this single. We'll chat about that next week. And then we have one album coming out this week from Haim. It's called I Quit. I don't typically listen to Haim that often. However, I loved Relationships and thought it was such a killer comeback single for this era. So I am going to tune into this album. Again, I don't know if this album is something I'm going to like be obsessed with, but you got to, you can't knock something till you try it. So I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to see what I think. I do think it might be kind of like a Marina situation where I'm like, I appreciate and understand why people love this, but I don't know if it's going to be for me. However, maybe I'll surprise myself. You never know these days. So very exciting releases this week coming up. And then obviously next week we have Lorde coming out, which I'm so stoked for, but I'm getting way ahead of myself with that. And that wraps up our Drew releases. Really quick, really to the point this week. Nothing really to chat about, but we'll have much to chat about next week. And before we get into our moments from the week that were just too pop to handle, I always love to remind you guys that it costs $0 to leave a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, you can go ahead and hit subscribe, give me a thumbs up. It is the best way to help support the show. You giving the show a rating and liking the show on YouTube helps to push it into other people's algorithms and, get us in front of new listeners. And if the show can grow, I can grow. And, we could just do more fun and exciting things over here at Too Pop to Handle. And I mean, it's Pride Month. You should be giving support to all of the gay people in your life. So leave me a 5-star rating, drop a comment, hit the like button, hit subscribe, all of the things. It would be greatly appreciated. And now that I've wasted a few seconds of your time, let's get into our moments from the week that were just too pop to handle, some pop culture rapid fire, kicking it off with the Grammys making some news this week, which is not award season, but of course, we have some little updates from this upcoming Grammy season that we need to know about. So they announced that Best Country Album will now be split into 2 awards, Best Contemporary Country Album and Best Traditional Country Album. They are adding a Best Album Cover as a new category, and the previously existing Best Recording Package and Best Box or Special Limited Edition Package will be combined into one category called Best Recording Package. And I mean, I love an album cover as much as the next person. I think packaging is great, very cool, very important. But the big story here is, of course, the country album getting split into 2 awards. And just having that come right after Beyonce wins Best Country Album and Album of the Year for Cowboy Carter, then they do this. It just kind of feels like a slap in the face. It's like, oh, once a Black woman wins, like God forbid a Black woman gets the flowers and, praise that she deserves for an incredible album. Now we're going to introduce an entire new category so this can never happen again. So essentially what I see from this is Best Traditional Country Album is going to be all the white people and Best Contemporary Country Album is going to be all of the Black people. And I don't understand why this is necessary. I don't think there's a need to split the 2 albums. Country music is country music, whether it was released with a banjo on it or if there's a little electric guitar on it. Like if it is country music, it is country music. And I don't think I would be so frustrated by this if we didn't see this happen in 2024. Renaissance won Best Dance Electronic Music Album, and the following year they announced the Best Dance Pop Recording after Renaissance won that. So this isn't the first time where they have seen Beyonce kind of playing in different genres and doing her own thing, and like it kind of sets them off to add a new category. it just seemed like this is a pattern now, like it's a repetitive thing. And it just seems so unnecessary and so like, it's just like a slap in the face to the whole genre, really. Cause it's like now, like, and again, of course, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself with saying they're going to split it between, race or whatever. But like, we know why they did this. Like, we know what the reasoning behind adding a contemporary and traditional country album category is immediately following Beyonce winning Album of the Year and Best Country Album. Like, 2 + 2 is 4, and this is adding up to something that just sounds about white. And like, I mean, in today's political climate and like the state of our country, I'm not surprised, but I'm like, really, do we need it? Do we need full new categories because we're so afraid of a Black woman succeeding? It just, I can't. I won't go further into it because what else is there to say other than like, I'm shocked but not surprised. But like, and I mean, Beyonce already has the Grammy for Album of the Year and Best Country Album for Cowboy Carter. So like, it's not like they can take it away from her. So like, stick that in your juice box and suck it. However, it is a little slighted. Like, it definitely just feels like there were some rumblings going on, within the Academy after that happened. And like, they couldn't just like let a Black woman win and like go on with it. They had to like do something to like almost like make sure it doesn't happen again. Or I don't know what was, behind it, but it's just like, you did it for Renaissance, you did it for Cowboy Carter. Like, what's next? Like, what are you going to do next to try to like diminish somebody's wins and take away somebody's flowers? But we're going to move on to the next story before I get too heated. Moving on to the next moment of the week that was just too pop to handle, Miss Zara Larson, who doesn't really make headlines that often. So when I saw her pop up, I was like, this feels like something we need to chat about. And she seems to be on the exact side of herstory that I like to be on and that most of us at Too Pop to Handle like to be on. So she opened up to Rolling Stone talking about how she doesn't understand why mainstream artists continue to work with Dr. Luke. She said that there's a million other people. Is it really, really that important for him to come back? I don't think so. I personally wouldn't do it because what is he going to do for me or for anyone else? I think that the most powerful thing you can do is actually put your money where your mouth is, work with women and hire women and do all that. So I think that there's way more powerful than writing a feminist anthem with someone who is not really standing for those values. And now, of course, you think Dr. Luke in the last few years, you immediately think Kesha and her lawsuit and Katy Perry's most recent album, 143. Was this pointed at Katy Perry? I don't think directly pointed at Katy Perry, but like, if the shoe fits, wear it. It's like, it is true. And she wasn't trying to slight anybody. She wasn't trying to dig at anyone. She was just making a statement that like, as women, you don't need to work with somebody who has all of these allegations and all of these problematic issues that he's had over the last few years. Put women in the studio, work with women, release a female anthem with a woman as a producer, and like, boom, there's the perfect recipe. Put your money where your mouth is. But of course, people need to take this out of proportion. And now I'm seeing Katy Cats DMing her and she's having like full on conversations with like the fact that she is responding to these people to begin with is just like beside me. And like, if I was her, I wouldn't even give them the time of the day. But like the fact that I'm seeing full Instagram DM screenshots of Katy Perry fan accounts DMing her, asking her why she said that and if she was pointing fingers at Katy. I was seeing people be like, you don't even follow Katy on Instagram. You must hate her. This is what I mean when I say music is just so much fun when you're not listening to somebody on Stan Twitter or like with a fan account. It's just like, we all like, you guys gotta relax. Like defending your fave like this isn't the flex that you think it is when somebody is just making a statement, and she is incredibly correct. Like nothing Zara Larson said in this interview was wrong. If women are going to be so feminist and women forward and, want to be making anthems for women, work with other women, put other women in the studio and do a fully female produced, written, vocal, everything with all women. It's not a crazy concept. It's not anything, to go home about. And especially when Dr. Luke is the person in question, like, there's not really an argument. You can't really sit there and be like, she's coming for no. It just seems like a moot point for everybody to like be going down her throat and like thinking that like they need to protect Katy Perry or their fave, whoever it is that they're talking about, with like guns a-blazing. It's like, she has a point. You don't need to agree with every single thing your favorite artist does. There's this this weird disconnect with people where they like think that like if their artist says jump, they need to say how high. And it's like, you don't need, that's not how it works. You know, you can disagree with things that they do and things, people that they work with or would not like a song or something. And like, it's not the end of the world. There's such a toxic community surrounding fandoms these days. It's been going on for years, but like, just, you know, it just seems never ending. And when things like this pop up, when like somebody who doesn't ever make headlines, isn't ever, you know, in drama like Zara Larson, that's not shade, it's just the truth. Like when she is saying something so truthful and like that actually is very empowering and very correct, why are we questioning it? And why are we going, you know, jumping down her throat? I, for one, think this is the perfect way to handle a question like this and to make this statement. Like, yeah, why are we working with him anymore? Everybody's been asking the question. Like, she's just the first one to be bold enough to like put it in an interview, you know, and like actually say something about it. I just thought it was very admirable of her to go ahead and, you know, make this statement and not be afraid of what was to come and the wrath of the Katy Cats, I guess, which is like not really anything to be that afraid of. But anyway, very happy to see that Zara Larson is on the right side of her story. And moving right along into our next moment of the week, that was just too pop to handle. Some engagement news. Miss Dua Lipa has officially announced that her and Callum Turner are engaged. She sat down with British Vogue for her 4th British Vogue cover, which they don't just give those out to anybody. So like clearly she's doing something right. Kudos to you, Miss Dua. But she announced that her and Callum are engaged. She said that the decision to grow old together, to see a life and just, I don't know, be best friends forever, it's a really special feeling. She said that I want to finish my tour, Callum shooting, so we're just enjoying this period. But I've never been someone who's really thought about a wedding or dreamt about what kind of bride I would be. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, what would I wear? And reading this interview and this whole article, it just seemed like she's in a really good place. Like she's on tour, she's, you know, having fun. She's obviously in love and engaged now. They've been together for a few years now. So, you know, you never know with anyone if it's going to be the one, if they're going to get engaged, if they're going to move to those next steps. But it's obviously, as a wedding, it's such a big moment in anybody's life. So very exciting. I mean, she's going to be the most beautiful bride I've ever seen in my life. I mean, just the photos for this photo shoot, I was like, she is unbelievable. Like she is so unbelievably stunning. And I feel like she doesn't even have to try. Like she is just jaw-dropping. So very exciting to see that her and Callum are moving on to this next, you know, portion of their life. I think they're so cute together. I mean, Dua Lipa just likes to go on vacation, release a good pop song and like have fun and be hot. Like she doesn't really bother anyone. She doesn't really get into much drama. So like when we get an interview like this and she's just opening up about like where she's at, she also opened up about like turning 30 later this year, which I just turned 30 in April. So I could, you know, not that I can relate to Dua Lipa's life because while she's like on vacation 24/7, I'm living a very regular life here in New York. But, you know, the sentiment of turning 30 is something anybody who has turned 30 or is going to turn 30, you can relate to in some capacity. So it was nice to just see, you know, where she's at feeling turning 30 and also crazy to think that we're literally the same age and she's Dua Lipa and I'm me. But, you know, it is what it is. Very exciting there. She also did open up and like talked a little bit about the joke, how everybody says she's always on vacation. She was like, people really do love to joke about the fact that I'm always on holiday. I'm not always on holiday. I just make everything I do feel like a holiday. And, you know, I think that's something I'm going to start adapting. Like, yeah, maybe I am just like out to dinner in downtown New York, but like, I'm going to make it feel like I'm on vacation. I'm going to make it feel bigger and grander. And I think all of us could really benefit from like thinking like Dua, you know, like WWDLD. What would Dua Lipa do? I think that's the new mindset. Make every day a vacation and you are going to be on vacation every day. So though I don't have, you know, the funds and maybe I don't look like Dua and don't have the luxurious, you know, all of the luxury that Dua Lipa has in her life, I'm going to make every day a holiday this year. And that's just, I think that's the vibe everybody should go for. Very exciting for her. Very excited to see. Can't wait to see like her wedding photos. Like, I mean, that's going to be insane. Maybe she'll get a Vogue exclusive. I feel like that's very aligned for her, you know, doing a whole Vogue shoot, a whole Vogue spread. It would be fabulous. I mean, if Demi Lovato can get a Vogue exclusive for her wedding, Dua Lipa can get one for her. So very exciting to see the dress, see everything. We have a while to go for this wedding, but it is going to be top of my list of things that I am looking forward to in the next few years. Cannot wait to see this. And just congratulations, Miss Dua. And moving right along into the final moment of the week that was just too pop to handle, we have the season 4 cast of The Traitors, which I feel like we just finished with season 3 of The Traitors, so it was crazy to already get this cast announcement, but I will take it. You know, we love The Traitors here at Too Pop to Handle, so very excited to see this list. I'm going to just run through the list, and then I have some thoughts on some of the people, and we're not going to talk about every single person, because honestly, I don't know who most of these people are, but we'll talk about in just a second. Let's get into this list, and then we'll debrief. So kicking it off, we have Candace Dillard Bassett from Real Housewives of Potomac, Caroline Stanbury from Real Housewives of Dubai, Colton Underwood from The Bachelor, Donna Kelsey, Dorinda Medley from Real Housewives of New York and season 3 of The Traitors, Eric Nam, Ian Terry from Big Brother, Johnny Weir, Kristen Kish, Lisa Rinna from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Maura Higgins from Love Island, Mark Ballas from Dancing with the Stars, Michael Rappaport, Monet Exchange, Natalie Anderson from Survivor, Portia Williams from Real Housewives of Atlanta, Rob Sesternino from Survivor, Rob Roche from Love Island, Ron Funches, Stephen Coletti, Tara Lipinski, Tiffany Mitchell from Big Brother, and Yam Yam Arocho from Survivor. So, my thoughts. People I'm so stoked for. Cannot wait. Monet Exchange, my girl, my queen, probably my favorite person from RuPaul's Drag Race in history. My number one. I cannot wait to see this diva on this show. She is a huge Survivor fan, so she knows these like trivia mindset kind of shows. She knows how to play the game. She lies left and right just for fun. She's always committed to the bit, even when the bit is false. So she is going to be so incredible on this show. I cannot wait to see what just like shenanigans she pulls in this castle. Cannot wait to see Monet Exchange on this show. Lisa Rinna, I'm very excited for. I mean, she is a queen. She's going to make such good TV on this show. Very excited for Dorinda. I mean, the fact that Dorinda got voted out so early on season 3 just killed me. And that I'm so happy they listened and they're bringing her back and they are going to give her a redemption era. Now, of course, they better not play her again and get her out again so early because I need to see her. I need to see Dorinda be Dorinda in the castle, you know, like I need her to have her moment and really just give it to the girls, give it to the guys, give it to everybody in that castle because I just need it. And I hope to God she is a traitor or that she is in there for longer than she was last time because she is going to make such good TV. And then I'm honestly really excited to see Rob from season 6 of Love Island. I feel like he was a little, you know, he was like scheming around the villa on Love Island last season. Like he kind of had, you know, he had some ulterior motives sometimes. He was playing some games and he definitely knows how to play a game. I feel like, you know, he's a little wilderness guy. He knows how to, you know, play with the snake. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see his gameplay. And I feel like he's going to bring something fun to the castle. So I'm very excited for that. And then on the other hand, I think I speak for the majority of people when I say nobody's really thrilled to see Michael Rappaport on this list. I mean, he has just had a fair share of controversies from racist things, very supportive of Trump, some homophobic things, you know, very polarizing opinions from that one. And I just think adding somebody like that into a mix of any group of people is just very polarizing. And I don't understand how he got through this. Like, I just don't get like where he got put into the mix. And I'm like really not thrilled to see him there. I don't know. I just think that was a choice. And I really hope everybody in the castle kind of turns on him and gets him out very fast because I just don't want to see him. I don't want to see him on the screen for that long. Like, get him out within the first 3 episodes and I will be fine. But I am kind of raising an eyebrow. Like, why did we cast him to begin with? That's neither here nor there. I'm not a casting director. I don't know. The second person that I'm not mad. Obviously, Michael Rappaport, I'm like, I don't want him on the TV at all. I'm not bothered by this person being there, but I do think Donna Kelsey getting cast for The Traitors is very weird. And I'm going to speak my truth. And people might not agree with me here, but I've been saying, not on camera, not here, I just have a weird feeling about Donna Kelsey for some reason. I don't know. It was cute at first with the Kelsey Bowl and like, you know, she was like, oh, my son, da da da. But over the last few years, it's just gotten a little fame hungry for like the mother of 2 NFL players. And I'm not saying she's a bad person by all means. I'm not saying she is. Clearly, she is nowhere to be compared to Michael Rappaport in terms of like bad people. I'm just not so thrilled to see her on this show. Like, I don't know if I needed Donna Kelsey on the Traitors. I don't know if that's the journey that I saw from her. I don't think, I mean, I don't know her. Obviously, we don't know much about her other than like what we see online and her interviews and whatnot. But like, I just am like, is this what were people asking for this? Like, does she like reality TV? And if she does, I'll eat my words. I'm the first one to always admit when I'm wrong. But like, is she a big reality TV fan? Like, does she love the show? Is that why she auditioned for it, or did they reach out to her? Like, it just seems a little strange to me. And I'm not saying she's a bad person. I'm not saying I'm not excited for her to like have her moment. But I'm like, you're not a reality star. You're not like a social media person. You are the mother of two football players. Granted, they are Travis and Jason Kelsey, two of like the biggest names in the NFL in years. And like, you know, of course, the Taylor Swift of it all and whatever. Like, obviously, there's a reason why she's put into these names and whatever. But I just am like, I don't know. Again, it is what it is. But when I saw her pop up, I was like, why? And she did something. I forget what it was. She did an interview or something a few months ago, and I was talking to Ashley and Jacqueline, two of my best friends, and I was like, something about this woman just rubs me the wrong way. Not in a way of like, she's a bad person. I just don't love her wanting the spotlight so bad. Does that make sense? Like, I don't love that she is like capitalizing so much on her sons being these football stars, because like, she's not like, yeah, she birthed them, sure. But like, it's not like she's like a football prodigy or like anything, like, you know, it's not like she has a career in any of it. It doesn't make sense to me. And again, this isn't coming from like a hateful place. I have no beef with Donna Kelsey. Let me put that on the record. It just feels weird to me. However, we'll see how she does on the show. Maybe she'll kill it. Maybe she'll be a traitor and really throw us through a loop. But like, seeing her name on the list, I was kind of just like, what? Like, why? But that's neither here nor there. Again, I am not a casting director, so what the hell do I know? I'm very excited that we have a Traitors cast list, though. Again, I don't know that many people on this list, to be completely honest. Like, a lot of these people, I'm kind of like, I know their name, but I'm not too familiar with them, or like, I just have no idea who they are at all. But I mean, that's kind of how Traitors did. You know, they pull from so many different franchises, and I'm not somebody who watches every single franchise, so it's not possible for me to know all of these people, and that's to my own fault. But I am so excited for Monet, for Dorinda, for Lisa, for Rob. It's a good list. Also, just like thinking of like, I love when they bring in like different housewife franchises and like seeing the housewives kind of interact, because they kind of always form a posse, and like the Survivor people always kind of form a posse, and you know, they have all of these thoughts, and you know, they think a different way than other people. So it is always fun to see everybody mix. And like, I do think going into it with not knowing that many people kind of gives me a blank slate to just kind of learn who they are, just, you know, going into it. But I am happy that I do know at least a handful of the people, so I have some ideas of what kind of personalities to expect, because these are some big ones. And that wraps up our pop culture rapid fire, our moments from the week that were just too pop to handle. Moving right along into the main segment of the show, the woman of the hour, the woman on everybody's lips this week and everybody's keyboard, really. Everybody has so many opinions, so much to say about Miss Sabrina Carpenter. She's on the cover of Rolling Stone. She announced her new album. Lots of thoughts, lots of opinions. And as most podcast hosts do, I too have lots of thoughts and lots of opinions on what's going on with Miss Sabrina this week. So let's get into it. First things first, I finally watched the Man-Child music video. When I talked to you guys last week, I had only listened to the song, and I was saying I liked the song. I thought it was good, but I definitely put a lot of pressure on the song, on a lot of expectation, which is my own fault. I shouldn't have expect Sabrina to continue to carry Song in the Summer 2 years in a row. You know, it's not her job. She is great at being a pop star, but I can't, you know, I put a lot of pressure on the song. So I've listened to the song some more. I've digested it some more. And, you know, it is great. I don't know. I put way too high of expectations on it to begin with, but it is a great song. It is fun. It is cute. It is exactly what you would expect from a Sabrina Carpenter song. However, since we last spoke, since last week, I watched the music video finally, which I was a little late on, I will admit, but I've been busy. That being said, I finally watched the music video last week, and oh my God, I'm obsessed with this music video. I think it is so much fun. It is just so kooky all over the place, and just, I'm dying to see the mood board for this music video. I want to know how they came up with the vending machine or the claw machine with the fish, with the scene of the guy driving off the cliff, with her switching the cars at the end. Like, there's just so many fun and out of the box and kooky moments in this music video. And I tell you, watching the music video made me like this song 15 more times. I am obsessed. It is so perfectly done. And I also had a bigger appreciation for this song after reading her Rolling Stone article. And we're going to talk all about the Rolling Stone article in just a little bit, but I thought it made most sense to do it while we're talking about the song. So she opened up about her songwriting process a little bit, and she said that there's either one of two ways that a song comes to be. Either it is an intentional writing session where they're there for a reason to write songs and, get work done, or a spontaneous burst of creativity that could happen at any time, any place, anywhere. It just hits her, it's some inspiration, and she needs to get this song written. And that's what happened with Man-Child. She said that this is one of those times. It just feels so much more special that way. If I'm not at the studio right now writing something that I'm going to die, I need to make sense of what I'm feeling and what I'm going through and put it down on paper. And hearing her say that, and then going back to the song and watching the music video and just thinking about her life over the last few years and just her relationships and the boys that she's dealt with. And not even if this song is pointed at one specific person, just her whole idea of please don't embarrass me, and make sure I'm picking the right one. And now it's well, he embarrassed me, he's a man-child. It just feels like a continuation. And she even said in this interview that when she opens the song with "oh please" or whatever the first line is, it was supposed to kind of be just an introduction where continuing to tell a story. So it feels not like a continuation of Short and Sweet, but it kind of feels like it's picking up where we left off and bringing us to a new place. But it's kind of it's continuing on with that story, which I think is a fun idea. And Jack Antonoff, of course, produced it. And he said it's easily my favorite song we've ever done together. The things we did on the last album, the things that people really loved, were just the start of places that we wanted to take it. Is oh, you like that? Well, just you wait. And as somebody who just loved Short and Sweet so much, it makes me so excited to see that she loved the way that it sounded. She kind of genre hopped and did so many different things that still created a full rounded project. It didn't sound like it was just a bunch of songs put on one album. It made sense throughout the entire album. And she really did have a lot of fun with different sounds and production styles and lyric styles and all of that jazz. So I'm very excited that, they're kind of playing with that still. And she's kind of, when you look at Espresso and Please, 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 they're two completely different sounds. So when I hear Man-Child, knowing that they're still going to kind of approach this next album with that same mindset, I'm all right, we're still going to have a Good Graces on this album. We're still going to have, slower ballads, and we're going to have a mix of different things. And she's going to have fun, and she's not going to put herself in a box, because who likes to be in a box? That's no fun. And also, lucky for us, we don't have to wait that long to see what this not waiting in a box looks like, because her new album, Man's Best Friend, is already getting released later this year. August 29th, the album is coming out pretty much exactly a year after Short and Sweet came out. And I will admit, at first I was this is too soon. We do not need another Sabrina Carpenter album just yet. And then I was thinking, and I sat on it, and I was listening to Las Culturistas, and they brought up the fact that Sabrina Carpenter is a Disney Channel kid. She knows how to work, and this is nothing new to her. She knows how to hit the ground running, go nonstop, and it's still gonna be good. And then I was thinking, think about Miley Cyrus back in the day. She would release a Hannah Montana album, then her own album, then go shoot a movie, then be on set for the show, then go do another album. And she was working nonstop, and it was always, to such a high caliber. And Sabrina is the same way. I mean, she would be on the show and then recording her album and then on tour and then back on set for her show and then doing this. And then she was on this and she would do another album. And it was always just nonstop. So this idea of working so fast isn't a new concept for her. And when you come from, that kind of, upbringing as a Disney Channel kid, how to produce good content, and how to make sure it's to a certain caliber, I guess is the word I'm looking for, and it not being bad. So at first, like I said, I was this is way too soon for a new Sabrina album. However, I am fully on board and I'm so excited for it. And in her Rolling Stone article, she was talking about it, and she said that back in the day, artists would really release a 10-song album every year. I'm when did we stop doing that? Writers write, they make music, and they release music. I understand the beauty of disappearing, and my last two albums both took 2.5 years to make because they needed to. I just think that every project is different, and it just has to feel right. Man's Best Friend wasn't written from a place of how do I one up myself or how do I recreate something else. Short and Sweet was this magical gift. It fed me and it fed a lot of other people in the world. It felt true to me and it felt authentic and a lot of other people. It's rare that those line up ever, let alone more than once. It unlocked my brain and let me know myself more and more. And when you think of like, even from like Emails I Can't Send to Short and Sweet, like the growth in just her as a person, as an artist, and like being so much more confident and comfortable. I mean, Jack added kind of about like the idea of genre hopping, saying when your personality is that strong, genre opens up. Genre opens up when it's not the most important part of what you do. When we're working together, it's a secondary thought, it's something to play with. Something leans a bit into a genre that we didn't expect, which happens many times on this new album. If anything, it just causes some smiles in the room. And I think like when you look back at her albums, even in this interview where she said, she's like, no, don't go listen to my past albums. Like, I don't want you to think of me as that artist, because she has evolved so much. And like, I think it's kind of like Emails I Can't Send is like where she kind of starts that new era of Sabrina and kind of like wants to kick everything else to the curb, which, you know, I'm sure people have their opinions, but I'm not listening to those albums. I'm sorry, I'm not. But Emails I Can't Send and Forward was this like new kind of Sabrina. You know, it was this new woman who was kind of like coming into this. She had all of this drama with the Olivia Rodrigo and all that whole situation. And she was kind of like telling her side of the story. And then with Short and Sweet just like took over the world. And like Jack says, when you have so much personality and you have such a, you know, a rounded, you're such a, you know, full personality, you know, full rounded person, you can do different genres because you don't have to just lean on being the pop star or the country star or this. Like, you can play around with it because you're so confident and sure in yourself that you're able to just like create something that it sounds correct because you're so positive about it. You're so sure about it. You're so, you know, you believe in it so much. So I think just like the two of them working together and continuing on this journey of like playing around with different sounds and not staying in a box, like I think it's just going to work so incredibly well. And I am so excited. I just can't wait to see what other genres she kind of includes. It makes me so excited. It makes me really look forward to what's in store for Man's Best Friend, because I feel like she's really going to give us another just fun project that has different sounds and different genres and just, you know, being Sabrina and having fun and leaning into her personality and all of that, which we're going to get into in just a second, because that's another thing that has been really the talk of the town this week is kind of how she approaches her sense of humor and how clearly half of the internet does not understand when a woman is trying to make a joke. With this album, of course, she releases the album cover in which she is down on her knees and, you know, it's a little suggestive, sure, I will say. However, the hot takes that I have been seeing about Sabrina Carpenter's new album cover are truly some of the most insane things I have ever read on my time on the internet. And I have been on the internet for a long time, and I did not expect a Sabrina Carpenter album cover to cause so much uproar. People are saying she's over-sexualizing herself. She's setting us back. She's setting women back centuries with doing things like this. It's for the male gaze. And I'm just like, did any of you guys watch the Nonsense Christmas special where the whole bit at the beginning when she's picking an outfit, she's going through for the girls, for the gays, and then for the guys, there's nothing on the hanger? Everything Sabrina Carpenter does is a bit. Everything is for the joke. Nothing is for the male gaze. It is for the male gaze, the G-A-Y-S, not the G-A-Z-E. It is for the gays. It is for the girls. In what world is Sabrina Carpenter ever doing anything for a man? Like, think back. Let's really critically think for a second and use our brains and think about the last time Sabrina Carpenter did anything that was to help a man. Go ahead. I'll give you some time. I'll give you a few seconds, because there hasn't been one. Like, that's not who she is. So I don't understand where this uproar is coming from or why people are so up in arms about this album cover, as if she's like in the kitchen and like, it just like, it's so wild to me the way that people are making these think pieces about this album when it's Sabrina Carpenter. Like, she is literally a comedian. Her SNL performance, Sabrina loves to be on top, like on the newspaper. We all, like, this is her bit. This is what she does. Why are we still acting surprised by any of this? Hello? Like it makes truly no sense to me. So then the album cover gets released, and then I think the next day or 2 days later, her Rolling Stone cover comes out, and it is just think pieces galore again. I'm like, are you in a thesis paper? Like, what is going on? People are going insane. So if you haven't seen the cover yet, she is showing some hip. She has her hair down. Yes, she is naked on the cover, but like, this is not the first person to be naked on a Rolling Stone cover, and it will not be the last. The photo is taken by David LaChapelle, who is known for some, controversial, some a little sexy, a little racy photos. It's like what he does. And also, it's Rolling Stone. Like, she's not on the cover of like Time magazine. And if she was on the cover of Time magazine looking like that, who cares? Like, why are we putting so much on the shoulders of Sabrina Carpenter to be like the leading feminist icon in today's world? You know what I mean? Like, she's Sabrina Carpenter. She's a little Polly Pocket pop star. Leave her alone. I don't get it. And she talks about like the sexualization and how people always say all she does is sing about sex. So she says, it's always so funny to me when people complain. They're like, all she does is sing about this, but those are the songs that you make popular. Clearly you love sex. You're obsessed with it. There's so many more moments in my show than the Juno positions, but those are the ones that you're posting every night to comment on. I can't control that. If you come to the show, you'll also hear the ballads. You'll hear the more introspective numbers. And I find irony and humor in all of it because it seems to be a reoccurring theme. I'm not upset about it other than I feel mad pressure to be funny sometimes. And it's so true. Like, you can go see Sabrina Carpenter and you don't need to post the Juno position. You don't need to post the nonsense outro when she's singing about, someone sucking on gov balls and, I need two hands because it's the size of a moon man. Like, that's just the bit. And like, yeah, she's doing it to be funny, but like, she's not picking what goes viral. She's not the one who's producing the content to go out. What we as the consumer choose to film and post is what the public eye sees. So if everybody is filming the moment where she is being a little sexual and racy, yeah, that's what people are going to think of her. But not every single song she releases is about sex. I mean, there's definitely majority, but it's not her whole thing. And again, even if it is, who gives a fuck? Like, why do we care? And then she kind of got into the idea of the way like women are just so over scrutinized right now. She says, I don't want to be pessimistic, but I truly feel like I've never lived in a time where women have been picked apart more and scrutinized in every capacity. And I'm not just talking about me. We're in such a weird time where you would think it's a girl power, women supporting women. But in reality, the second that you see a picture of someone wearing a dress on a carpet, you have everything mean to say about it within the first 30 seconds that you see it. And she's right. It's like back in the day, yeah, with Lindsay, Paris, Britney, all of the like early 2000 girlies, like people were ripping them apart because they were out partying and they were drinking and they were doing drugs, which also is none of your business. And like paparazzi culture was just so toxic back then. And we've come a long way in that sense. But in today's society, it's like the internet is so quick to just be like, she's wearing an ugly dress. Or if somebody shows up to a red carpet and they're at the Grammys and somebody's like, oh, what are your thoughts on the current presidential, state of the country? They're like, I'm at the Grammys. Why are you asking me these questions? But if you don't answer in the correct way, you get scrutinized online. You get picked apart. You're like canceled immediately. And it's such like you can't win almost, it feels like. And I forget who it was. It's slipping my mind, but it was, I'm pretty sure it was like a gay content creator or a gay singer, somebody. And they were talking about how like a gay man or a woman shows up to a red carpet and they're like, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on politics or, rights and this and that? And then a straight man shows up in nothing but a black suit and they're like, you look your best dressed tonight. Who are you wearing? And they're like, I got this from H&M. But yet the women and the gays are showing up in like these full couture outfits and they're getting grilled on their political stance. Like, it's such a double standard and it's such a weird timeline to be living in, because she's right. Like, everything you say and everything you do is immediate. It's within seconds. It is taken and it is no longer yours. It is blown out of proportion. It is completely ripped apart and analyzed and shredded. And like, even today on TikTok, I saw her having to comment on a video on TikTok. Somebody took a photo, I believe it was from her W magazine shoot last year, and said like, oh, she was pulling reference from Lolita, the movie from 1997 that has some problematic, storytelling behind it, which is a whole, you can go look that up if you want. But they were saying like, why would you draw inspiration from this? You know, it has a problematic past. And she's like, I've never seen this movie in my life. I would not draw inspiration from it. It's just a photo of me laying in a field with a sprinkler on. Like, it's not a crazy concept, you know, it's a sprinkler in a yard and I'm laying down. Like, why does everything have to be such a huge thing? And why do you have to make such a big deal out of nothing? And I think it just perfectly spoke to like this idea of like, we live in a time where people are just scrutinized for every single thing that they do. And I say this with love, but like, isn't it exhausting to continuously try to just like drag and bring people down and like, just like nitpick at every single thing somebody does? Like, I feel like there's no grace with anybody anymore. And like, everything just has to be made into such a bigger thing. And suddenly everybody's problematic and everyone is wrong. And it just like, it feels so, I don't know. I think everything she was saying in this interview is perfectly said. And I think especially coming from somebody like Sabrina, who has been famous for so long, but blew up so fast in the last year and a half, 2 years, where like now suddenly every single eye in the world is on her when she's been making music and on TV for years, but suddenly she had this big come up. Like, she's like, I've been doing this for years. Same with Chapel. And, you know, all these people who have this overnight success are like, I've been doing these things for years. And now that there's attention on it, suddenly is an issue and suddenly is a problem, when there's really no problem. It's just people like to nitpick and, you know, like to just draw conclusions and jump to conclusions without any type of clarification or anything. It's just it's a toxic environment, you know, it's a toxic cycle that we see people living in. And I feel like I'm a broken record. I say this, I feel like every week, but like media and music and movies are so much more fun to consume when you don't have stan Twitter and fan accounts and the number game and this and that like down your throat. It's just, if anybody is listening to this and you do find yourself like being like, oh, well, that album must suck because it debuted at number 4 and like I'm not listening to it because like they're a flop. It's like, I promise you, when you let go of that and caring about where an album charts or where a song performs or how many units are sold or this or that, like when you let go of those things and like just enjoy music and media and movies and TV shows for what they are, that is art to consume and enjoy, it is so much better on the other side. So if you are somebody like that, I'm not saying this to, you know, make you feel bad about yourself, but I'm just saying it's a lot funner on the other side when you can just enjoy it and not have to think about every single sale and success and da-da-da and the whole thing. Like even looking back at like earlier in the episode with the whole Zara Larson thing, like why is Zara Larson saying, hey, maybe we should stop working with a rapist? Why is that now making people go into her DMs to question why she doesn't follow Katy Perry? That's all I'm saying. And I think I'm going to leave it at that because I think my message is clear enough. Yeah, I don't know. I just, it just, when you hear it from somebody like Sabrina, like I said, her saying it so perfectly and like, you know, she's saying it from somebody who goes through this every single day. It's just like, it's like, hello, like, why is this what people are focusing on so much? But that's neither here nor there. Sabrina Carpenter's new album, Man's Best Friend, comes out later this year. And you know I will be listening to that album into the ground. I cannot wait. And that wraps up our main point of this show, but we are not done just yet. We still have our TV recap. And you guys know it is another day in the workroom, and it is very exciting because it is our third and final bracket on RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 10. I am so excited. I've been loving this season. I'm so excited to, you know, get through this last bracket and see what's next for the 9 girls that made it through their bracket. So our new bracket has 6 queens, as every other bracket has. We have Ginger Minge, Denali, Acid Betty, Dia Betty, Cynthia Lee Fontaine, and Alyssa Hunter. And let me just say, if I was in bracket 1 and bracket 2 and I found out that bracket 3 got Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo as the guest judges for their first episode, there would be hell to pay. Like you would not hear the end of it from me. I mean, just having Ariana and Cynthia as guest judges on this season at all is so iconic. But like those other girls in those other brackets, those other 12 queens, I mean, they got Chapel, they got big people, but like, especially this year getting Ariana and Cynthia, Elphaba and Glinda, like that's insane. That is gaggy. And like, I personally, you would not hear the end of it from me. I would be raising hell in that workroom for weeks. But that being said, Ariana and Cynthia are our guest judges this week. And it is just, again, I'm so happy to live in a world in which Wicked is still thriving and we still have a whole nother press tour and like just these little drops in the buckets that we're getting, you know, these little pink and green raindrops that we're getting slowly building up to November. I am taking every single one and eating it up, and I'm just loving every single part of it. I thought they were just fabulous. I love how they went and talked to the girls in the workroom. I love the whole Untucked moment. You could just tell they were so excited to be there, and like just the, you know, they're such advocates for the community and for drag and for everything. And the way Cynthia was talking about like how being an actress is like being in drag. Like when she's on set, she feels like she is in drag. I mean, especially with Elphaba when she's painted head to toe green, but like just hearing her kind of try to relate to the girls and, you know, put herself in their shoes and everything. It was just, you could just tell how much her and Ariana really love the art of drag and they appreciate it and they get it. And it was just fabulous seeing the two of them in that, you know, in that situation. I loved it. It just warmed my gay little heart. And making it to the runway, it was like a Wicked, you know, good witch, bad witch kind of vibe. But of course, they could not just go pink and green because that would be too obvious. So the girls are in pairs. The pairs are Ginger Minj and Daya Betty, Cynthia Lee Fontaine and Alyssa Hunter, and Denali and Acid Betty. So taking it from the top, we had Ginger Minj and Daya Betty. I loved the two of them together. I didn't know how I'd feel about the two of them working together, but they ended up knocking it out of the park. I love their performance. And though they did wear the same color, they were both in blue, they did a really good job at not looking, it didn't look like a family resemblance challenge. You know, you could tell that they were two different people. They had one of them was water, one of them was wind. They played with the elements, but though they were both dressed in blue, you could tell that they were two different things. And that's not an easy thing to do, because if you put two people up on a runway in the same color, you're going to see similarities. But with the two of them, they really, between the physical comedy and their storytelling and like the elements of it, you know, Daya had more of like the flowing with it, and Ginger, you know, they just really played into it really well. I really thought they did a standout job this week. Ginger is just so funny. I'm so happy to have her back. I thought her jokes were great. Her comedic timing was perfect. And I'm really curious to see like how Daya Betty does in an all-star setting. And like even her talking about like, oh yeah, I guess I was a bitch on my season or whatever she said. Like, girl, you were the bitch on your season. Like you were a bully to these girls. Like if you don't see that, maybe that's a deeper rooted problem. But I'm curious to see like how she goes, especially like with this point system. I feel like she's going to be one to really try to like finagle her way into extra points and like kind of give like the Mistress and George's idea where they're like are telling people, oh, I'm going to vote for you, but then like, or like give you the point and then not give them the point, but take their point kind of thing. I could totally see Daya Betty kind of taking that route, but I'm not going to, you know, put that on her just yet. We will see how it goes. Next up, we have Cynthia Lee Fontaine and Alyssa Hunter. I thought Cynthia's was very pretty, but I was watching the pit stop and they took the words right out of my mouth. Monet was like, if you're doing water, why are there flowers on your dress? Like that just didn't communicate properly to me. I thought she looked fine. I thought it was fine. But then when you're standing next to Alyssa Hunter and she's dressed like that, I mean, Alyssa Hunter is just great at drag. She's very polished. Her looks are always so well thought out, so well constructed. Her makeup is always fabulous. Like, and this is no shade to Cynthia at all, but like, I mean, like, come on, like looking at the two of them next to each other, Alyssa's was just so much more drag and grander and more polished. And again, Cynthia didn't look bad, but when you put the two of them next to each other, I was like, well, shit. Finally, we had Denali and Acid Betty. Visually, these two were my favorite. I love the contrast. Denali is just so stunning. Honestly, in and out of drag, it's just like one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen in my life. I loved her hair. She was perfectly accessorized with like the little sparkles and the way that the dress hit her hip and kind of draped down. She looked great. This was a fabulous week for Denali. And I also really liked Acid Betty's look. I loved her hair. I thought it was really, really cool. The whole, like all the details on the dress, the two of them just looked great together. They both looked very polished, very well put together. And they did the ice and fire, thing so well together. It also just fit their personalities perfectly. So I loved that. Come to find out that the top two are Ginger Minj and Daya Betty, which as a whole performance, I totally agree. I think visually, the way that they worked together, the way that they told the story together, it just with the full package better together, you know, like they did the whole package deal together. So I totally agree. Think they knocked it out of the park. We come to find out that they are lip syncing to probably one of the gayest songs that they possibly could have picked on Drag Race, the original Broadway cast recording of Defying Gravity. And let me just tell you, the way that I gasped when I saw this, like it was truly the gayest gasp I have ever gasped in my life. This was everything to me. I thought it was just such a fabulous way to like pay homage to Wicked and remind everybody that like, yeah, Wicked, what we know Wicked as today might be Ariana and Cynthia, but it will always be Kristen and Idina. Like, let's not forget our roots. You know, I know most of us don't, but a lot of people don't do their homework and don't study up and don't know, you know, the original Broadway cast. And I don't want to hear anyone comparing the two because they are very different. And I love that they went with the original Broadway cast for this lip sync. Ginger ends up winning, which I totally agree with because I think Ginger is just so much more theatrical, though Betty was performing. Like Betty definitely gave her a run for her money on that stage. But I do agree with Ginger, just her route on the lip sync, you know, kind of not going over the top and just really letting the lyrics kind of speak for themselves. And she was so dramatic with her lip syncing. And she was really just like on it with every note and every expression on her face. Like she knew this song as if she was Idina Menzel herself. And that is how you win a lip sync. So as of now, Ginger Minj is in the lead on this bracket with 3 points and Betty is right behind her with 2. The rest of the queens with 0, but not for long because obviously the top of next episode, they will all award each other a point and we will see where we go from there. And that is Drag Race. I'm very excited to see where this season continues on and like seeing all the girls come together in the next few weeks. Like I'm really loving this season. I think they did a standout job, but you know, we'll keep recapping it every week. I'll give you guys my thoughts. We will see where it takes us. I don't know who I think is going to win. I don't know who's going to be in the bracket 3 winner. So like, it's hard to even say who I think is going to be the top 2 yet. I think I'll have a better idea once we get through bracket 3, knowing who is the 12 or the 9 girls that are competing together in the final round. Then I might have an idea for the top 2. But with All Stars, you never know. Like Ru could pull some shenanigans at the last minute and the girl who was in last place could now be in first. Like you just never know with an all-star season specifically. So I'm not going to put my eggs in a basket yet. I'm going to wait a few weeks and then I'll draw some conclusions on who I think is going to take the crown for All-Stars 10. And then before we finish the show, just some quick thoughts on Love Island. Like I said, first and foremost, the music budget on Love Island needs to be studied because they are pulling some hits on this season. The Chapel songs, Sabrina, just like the amount of like current music they are playing and licensing for season 7 of Love Island. I need somebody at Peacock to send me that Excel sheet with the budget for the music specifically because it has to be high. Like I need to know what deal they worked out with every single music publisher in the world to be able to use these songs and not be in billions and billions in dollars of debt. And if anybody has any inside scoop, my DMs are always open. I will sign an NDA. I'm just curious. I think of these things when I'm watching these shows, like the budget that goes into even Drag Race. When you think of like a lip sync song, they have to pay money to get that song on the show. And like, that's why if you ever notice when they do a Beyonce lip sync on Drag Race, baby, they're doing the entire song. There's no first verse, chorus, and the end. No. You're getting a first verse, a chorus, some of the second, you're getting the bridge, you're getting the final, because they spent money to get a Beyonce song on Drag Race, so they're going to make the most of it. Love Island is cranking out 4 or 5 bangers in each episode, and I'm like, how are you affording this? I need to know how that goes down. So if anybody has some inside scoop over at Peacock, hit my line. We can keep it between us, but I need to know. As of right now, I am loving Shelly. I'm loving Olandria. I'm loving Nick. Huda, I really liked at first, but she is starting to crack for me. I'm kind of like, oh, maybe you were hiding some crazy behind there. And like I said, we aren't fully caught up yet. We're on episode 10. So I don't know what happens on episode 12, but I keep seeing people being like, oh, Hurricane Huda is coming. So I'm sure her crazy is about to get crazier. I will say I don't love Amaya. I think she's making good TV, but she's becoming almost unbearable. Like it was funny at first, but now I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's just not doing it for me. I don't know. She is really just rubbing me the wrong way. She's just, I don't know. Something about her I don't like. I feel like she has something about her just isn't sitting right with me. And I don't know. I think Ace is playing a really interesting game. I think his game is so specific and so like he's very well thought out. I think he's really like trying to make the most of his time there in a sense of like he's not committing to one person, but like why did you pick Amaya if you know you didn't want to really be with her and commit with her. It just seems like he's kind of in a runaround. Who else? I'm trying to think. Austin, I'm like in between with. I also know his politics aren't the best. But taking his politics out of it, I do think he's funny. He adds like a funny humor to the show. I just don't know if he's like getting, he definitely is not getting the most juice out of his squeeze, if you guys know what I mean. Taylor, I really hope that Taylor and Alandria stay together. However, I do think this new bombshell, excuse me, I'm forgetting his name because I just watched the episode, but I do fear for Taylor and Alandria. And like Taylor's so sweet, I feel like an innocent and just wants to like the best for whatever, but I do think he needs to either step his game up or he's going to be single and vulnerable. Like, I don't see it. I don't see it going well for him. Who else? I'm trying to think. Off the top of my head, nobody else really comes up. I mean, obviously Jeremiah and Huda, I'm like, they're cracking. They're definitely going to be split up soon. I think it's going to be some crazy shit with the two of them. So I'm very excited to see what happens there. Sierra, I enjoy. I like her a lot. I think she's fun. She's spicy. She's got a little edge to her. I'm really excited to see what happens with her and Nick. I feel like it's kind of who knows where it's going to go, but I am very curious to see like what is next for her. But yeah, I'm really liking this season. Again, I've watched so much of it in the last few days that I like can't even think of everything that's happened, and that's why I'm having a hard time figuring out how to recap it. But I'm really liking this season. I'm really excited to see it continue through the summer, and like I know we're about to hit like some crazy shit on the show, so I cannot wait to see what is in store, and like we will chat all about it next week. But yeah, that's Love Island for me. I'm like looking at my list. Yeah, that was really all I had. Nothing too crazy. And that's our TV recap, which means we have made it to the final segment of the show, our yes and our mess of the week. We end every single episode with something I am loving, my yes, and something I am not loving, my mess. And we always start things on a high note here at Too Pop to Handle. So kicking it off with my yes is no other than Mama Tina, Miss Tina Knowles. She shared an Instagram reel the other day. It was like a fan posted it and she reposted it. Miss Tina loves her Instagram reels and loves a repost. And it was a video of Beyonce's stadium completely sold out. And it was like, I thought she was having trouble selling tickets or something like written on the reel. And Miss Tina just reposted it, no caption, nothing, just posted that. And I love that Miss Tina is not afraid to get messy. Like she fully was like, yeah, everybody is talking about my daughter saying she can't sell at a stadium. Look at this. Look at this crowd. Look at how many people are watching her. She's like breaking records every single stadium she goes to. And I love that Beyonce will never be petty online, but Miss Tina has no filter and no boundaries. And she will repost somebody and be like, yep, look at my daughter doing her thing because all the tabloids wanted to say Cowboy Carter Tour wasn't selling out before it started. And now look who is breaking all of these box office records. Beyonce. Anyway, moving on. My mess of the week is somebody who I typically really admire and respect. I think he is somebody who is so talented and has created some of the best pop songs we have ever had, whether it's with his band or producing it for somebody else. But after this weekend, I am just so disappointed with Ryan Tedder. He posted to his story when everybody was out protesting for No King's Day. So he posted to his story on Saturday or Sunday, and he said, I have around 20 family members and grandparents that have fought in all wars from the Revolutionary War through World War II/Korea. All politics and parties aside, it's a super bummer that instead of celebrating the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army and all of those who have fought and died on our behalf, we're protesting. I haven't been a card-carrying political member of either side for 20 years and think at this point everything is absurd 99% of the time. But I'd like to say thank you to all of the Army service members, active and retired, and those who have given their lives to protect our freedom to protest. And now hear me out. Sure, you can, celebrate whatever with your family. That is fine. But to see people out there protesting our president, who is a convicted felon and rapist and is trying to strip away the rights of innocent human beings in this country every single day, it feels like every hour at this point, he is trying to take away somebody else's rights. For you to miss the bigger picture and just post that you wish we were celebrating your grandparents who fought in the war, that is great. Thank them for me. If they're still here, thanks, I guess. However, you're missing the point and your white privilege is showing so incredibly strong that I'm just like, if you are going to sit here and say like, we shouldn't be protesting because we should be celebrating the 250th anniversary of the Army, you're missing the point. Like you are completely missing everything, all the reasons why people are protesting. And if you truly think like getting on the internet to go in your soapbox and like bitch and moan about this was like your flex, and like it's not the flex that you think it is. And I was so disappointing to see somebody who I truly have always spoken so highly of in a sense of like their music production, and they've created so many of like such killer songs. Like Ryan Tedder is behind, Halo, to speak of one. Like Ryan Tedder is behind so many brilliant songs that we all know and love. And to see somebody who can be so musically brilliant, be so unaware and just like stupid when it comes to things like this that matters, like human beings' rights, it's just really disappointing. And I was like, God damn it. Like every day I feel like we're losing another person in society to some stupid narrative. And it's just, I guess, weed them out, I guess weed them out now, figure out, who we can still support and whatever. And we'll figure it out as we go. But I was like, damn, this sucks. Like, this is just like, close your mouth. You could have just like kept the Instagram story to yourself. Like, let people protest. Go, if you want to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Army, go get a cake and celebrate with your family who have served. Why do you need to bring it to Instagram when literally everybody is out protesting right now and sharing things about protesting and sharing why it's important to protest, and all you're worried about is celebrating the 250th anniversary of the Army? It's a mess for me. Ryan Tedder, do better. And that is the end of our podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you liked what you heard and you're listening to us as a podcast, make sure you go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating wherever you are listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you give us a big thumbs up, drop a comment, hit subscribe, hit all of the buttons. If you would like some more moments from the week that were just too pop to handle in between podcast episodes, you can head over to toopoptohandle.substack.com and sign up for my newsletter. I send out a newsletter every single weekend with some extra pop culture moments that you might have missed in between episodes. I have a lot of fun over on Substack, and I love the little community that I'm building over there. So I would love it if you guys came to join. It is free, so I'll have that link down below. If you would like to follow me on social media, I am at 2poptohandle across all platforms, as well as my personal account is at Andrew Nucatola. I am always yapping somewhere. I have a lot to say, a lot of opinions, a lot of fun memes to share. So come follow, join the party, and yeah, let's keep these good things going. Don't forget to check me out on Talk Miley to Me, this week. That comes out on Thursday, June 19th at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So I will have that linked on my Instagram, and you can just find it on their podcast page. I think that is everything. Yeah. Have a fabulous week. Happy Pride. Go get a drink, have some fun, be safe, and I will chat with you guys next week. Bye.